Okay, so today I'm now going to jump into Reactivation, one of the three of the AI offers that I discussed thoroughly within the course and how to fulfill them later on. Now, Reactivation is a very interesting one because I think in terms of all the three core offers, Reactivation is like probably the easiest, lowest risk for the client. It does depend on industry though. I'm pretty sure it's quite industry dependent. Some leads are like super hard to get, like in solar, like not always the easiest to sort of generate revenue from. But you can have high ticket on it. So for like how real estate and solar, they're very expensive leads. So if you were actually able to reactivate those leads, which would otherwise be lost, that you could charge quite a significant amount of revenue when it comes to doing that. Now, for those that don't actually know what these the list reactivation agents even is, we can just break that down very quickly, okay? So list reactivating is going out to their existing list that they built through their CRM, creating some kind of offer to then deliver to them, to then use the AI to kind of book, answer questions, and set them for them to turn up to that service and then fulfill said service. The setup's relatively simple and anywhere between 3 to 5 hours. Again, like you need to obviously do the A2P. That's kind of like an open box because A2P can take anywhere from like within the same week to like 2 weeks. It's not really a specific time frame. That's quite random, but it's a really good way to you can literally deliver it for free as a way to then like upsell the whole system. Like there's a bunch of things you can do here, but once they then see the value of or how easy it was to activate dormant leads that they've kind of forgotten about with the AI, it's then really easy to sell them the rest of the system. So let's jump into it. So as I said before, when a small to medium sized business hires you, they're not obviously they're buying a service, but everyone is buying a service, right? They're investing in your expertise to fix the specific problem they have. Now, one of the main problems businesses have is they spend a lot of money to acquire a customer, but then they don't really pay attention to retaining that customer. There is a very famous study by Harvard Business School that I believe 25% in retention, or is it 5% increase in retention, can increase the bottom line profit by 25 to 85%. Meaning, if you can actually reactivate your acquisition bucket, when the leads come in, then you can end up generating a lot more money without having to spend money on ads or any other thing. It's probably the easiest, lowest hanging fruit for a business to get money or get cash in quick. Now, when it comes to the pricing strategy of reactivation offers, it's going to vary because in my opinion, you never really charge a per month for that. But instead, you can set up a pipeline within GHL to very clearly see of the leads contacted who booked. You can offer two kinds of models. You can do per appointment, or you can do like percentage of closed revenue. That does depend on the industry significantly. For me, if it was like a high footfall business, then it's very easier to just charge per appointment. For example, like, hey, for a med spa, for example, that's got hundreds or even thousands of leads, if you go and bring in like 50k, you could easily take like the average service cost for them. It's going to cost them nothing, by the way, to actually do it in terms of like from a marketing spend. If you charge them, let's say $50 per appointment, but their average appointment cost is $250, that's $200 profit booked appointment. So it's a win-win situation. There's literally zero downside by charging either of those models. Because the whole what if it doesn't work? Well, what if it doesn't work? Then you don't get paid. And so it's a very easy one to get them on board as a testing offer. Now, in terms of the industry performance, so when it comes to the actual database reactivation offer, this is just kind of a bit of info, right? There's going to be some industries that perform better or just perform differently. As I said, if it's a high ticket item, you're going to obviously expect a lower conversion rate on the per lead basis than something that's a lower ticket. You're getting a higher conversion rate, obviously. So it is context dependent. When you're looking at leads in solar, in real estate, again, depends on like what type of lead it is in real estate. But you'll find if someone's like wanted solar like 6 to 12 months ago, there is a high likelihood that maybe they found someone else. And again, you never actually know because everyone's on a different stage of the funnel or a different stage of their journey. But the point really is when you look into the industry performance, it's going to change based on who you're selling to. So when you are picking it, when you are pricing it, just think about like what that lead value means to them and how likely it is to convert for you in terms of their list size and stuff like that. Now let me just jump into a bit of the actual information just so you can understand like the value of it in general. So 73% of leads who submit never get contacted again after like initial interest. That's huge. And it costs on average $50 to $200, per lead that's already paid in terms of the cost per lead that they paid to get. Now 68% of those people will still have the same problem they actually initially had when they first purchased. For a repeat purchase, like nails, like women always need their nails done, you can always reactivate those women to go back to your like nail clinic and another clinic, so on and so forth. So in terms of the lead life cycle, there's something you're going to want to think about is that hour 1 is like peak interest. Day 1 to 3 is like waiting, probably looking elsewhere. By the end of week 1, they probably found something else, and after month 1, they're pretty much dead data in the CRM with like, at most they're going to be sending emails out like on this email drip, which isn't really going to do much. Now, the common misconception is that just because they're in your database, you haven't contacted them in a while, they're no longer interested. The truth, however, is that if you present someone with a really, compelling offer that a competitor isn't offering, they're very likely going to switch, because otherwise why would they have submitted in the first place? Now, this is just some hidden costs of ignoring database reactivation, right? So let's say you spent over your lifetime in the business 100k and you got like a certain amount of leads. The actual conversion of that is like 2 to 5%, so that's 20 to 50 customers. You're ignoring like a majority of your leads. You're literally losing like tens and tens of thousands of dollars by just not having a closed pipeline reactivation and follow-up. So the traditional approach is just like, I can tell you this is the traditional approach and still is the case. You'll often see service businesses just ramp up ad cost on the front end to put more people in the funnel to acquire them, but then they're losing them with the reactivation or the lack of reactivation. Reactivation literally costs zero if you go on a performance base, has really high engagement, and it's pure profit. That is a nice ad hook, right? Like, don't spend money on ads, pure profit, and you can see the result within a week of launching. Crazy. Now, why does it work? Well, it can be personalized, like AI can have personalized conversations based on whatever it may be. It can be multi-channel. It can have 24/7 availability on nurturing that lead when they do respond, and it can book them into the calendar with whatever service they want on autopilot. The business literally has to do nothing. Now, let me just go into, the guaranteed to get interest. Once again, you don't have to spend ads. You can literally guarantee like a booking within the 48 hours. There's so much proof that reactivation is the most highest ROI thing a business can do than acquiring a new customer, because to acquire a new customer, especially in 2025, the ad spend is going up. So again, just a summary. Old leads aren't dead, they're just dormant. Problems don't disappear when leads go quiet. A business already has existing trust with that client, and there's zero acquisition cost. This is pure profit. So this is like a really nice offer to go with. There's so many ad hook angles, and it can be a really good lead magnet that you could sell really cheap. Like, you can literally sell this if you wanted to for like $97 as a lead magnet, because even if they get a bit of money, it just gets that initial conversation going to then sell the other services, and voila, they're now on like $397, $497 a month, and they're happy with you. Again, lead reactivation is probably one of my favorite things. It's the most simple to do, and yeah, clients usually love it. So that's the next. I will show you in the other modules how to build these kind of reactivation setup, and that will be for another module. Speak soon.